ready for a Tommy Turbo Masterclass. Tameless Tuesday is here, and the boys are hard as a rock. Don't be a weak-gutted dog. Leave that for Jamin Salmon. Get ready for the best SuperCoach show on the planet. It's so good, it's better than Lego. You're now listening to the SuperCoach Experience Podcast. Here's your host, Brandon Savage.
Hello and welcome back to the SuperCoach Experience Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Savage, the coach of the Savage Burbos. I'm joined by two special guests today. You could call it the SuperCoach Champions Podcast. I'm joined by the 2021 champion, Tim Moody, and the 2020 champion, Joe Naduff. How are you, Joe?
Mate, good to be here. Long-time listener, first-time, we used to say caller, but first-time hoster, panelist.
You've actually been on before. You've been on once before. It was
online, yeah, it was
online
remotely. In the kid's bedroom, that's right.
Yeah. Back in the day where we used to record in the bedrooms. But
this is outstanding, boys. Jeez, come a long way.
Yeah, we're lucky that our studio here, DM Podcast Studio, provide us with a studio to record at every week. So, firstly, how's your SuperCoach team doing?
Pretty good. I was 2,000 last week and had a pretty poor week with S. Johnson and a few others that didn't perform. Captain Manu down to 3,000 now. So my team's set up. I've got 20 trades.
Oh,
that's
Jesus.
Pretty good. But I'd love to give you some.
Yeah,
trades as well.
I definitely need some trades. Yeah, I'm 20. I've gone down to 25th, lads. Down from 13th. Captain Garrick on the weekend. That hurt. I was having a pretty good week up until that happened, and I'm just lucky that he was so highly captained, I guess, because I felt like when I put the decision on and put the captaincy on him that he wasn't going to be that highly captained just because his form recently, but like 93 against Penrith without a try, without kicking his goals, I just felt like it was a day for him, and the goal kicks were there for him. There was many tries down the edge that he was playing at. There was the Ben Trebojevic, the Lehigh Hopewade try. Just wasn't meant to be, but 25th, I'll definitely take it.
I reckon the masses want for feeder for captaincy. When that news sort of broke, I had Garrick straight. I went to Garrick straight away. And then when Parramatta side named Dejan Arce on the left edge again, I thought, you know what? If the Dogs can tear him up, Crichton made a mockery of his defence. I thought, you know what? I can't not go Manu. And then after 10 minutes, he almost had a try, and then he had that try contribution, which could have been his try, and then they just didn't go back there again. They kept going left, unfortunately. You know, Daniel Tupis got all the spoils in that game, but, you know, I guess 40 wasn't too bad compared to Garrick's 9, so
yeah,
could have been worse.
Timmy actually went Manu as well. Timmy, how are you? We haven't spoken to you.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
I'm all right. No, just we will retract. This is not the Champions Podcast. I can already feel a cease and desist letter from Wilfred Z. He obviously hosts the Champions Podcast, but yeah, no, just kidding. He wouldn't mind us throwing that out there.
Sorry, Tim, we've got 2 champions and the 2024 champion.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Let's go, so. Good for business.
Yeah. Wow, just listening to you two talk, it's made me realise how bad I'm playing because, like, you're ranked really well. We've got the same amount of trades, but there's a big gap between us. You're a little bit ahead of me. Yeah. But you've got so many more trades, so you're so far ahead of me. And, last week I was on here telling everyone, you know, I believe again. You know, the realistic goal for me is top 200. You know, I won't be just settling for just a top 1,000. I've got to be, you know, let's aim for some realistic goals here. I'm going to be lucky to make it into 13,500 again, which is what I did last year. I've done some assessing, and this time last year, I was in a better spot rank-wise and
trades-wise.
And it's grim. It's very grim. So look, I looked at and it just started going bang, bang, bang downhill, and I feel it coming. Just the amount of hits I took last week to the numbers for this week just really doesn't make me feel confident in growing this week. And then not having numbers, big trade numbers, can't make moves. Like I'm like, I don't know when to. Do I make 2 trades now? I'll make them and make them be keepers. You say that, and you tell yourself you want them to be keepers, but then they get injured, and like I just feel like I might just have to deal with the problems I've got and be very conservative from now to try and save any face.
I think the big thing is, I remember when I won it, you got to change with SuperCoach. You've got to sort of eyes up SuperCoach, as you say. When I won, there was no buys. So it's pretty much first past the post. Trades were an issue. I got lucky. when you won it, to me, you got Tommy Turbo year. You got in Garrick early, Turbo early. You're right, like sort of got above it. I think last year's winner came from nowhere in the last week because you saved some trades the last few weeks. So
what I found I haven't
Tell you
adjusted
what.
from is 2020, 121, 22. I did well, still made top 1,000. 23, the extra team came in.
Yes.
The buys, there was a buy per week. The trade, the boost came in as well. So the boost and all this, I've not managed the boost well. How to use boost, and I've just traded too hard. I've not adjusted. So I thought I learned some things from last year, but I just haven't made those adjustments. I've just sort of panicked week after week, and I panicked again this week. I wanted to make 0 trades. Then I told myself I could just make one. Brought in Garrick, which was a disaster.
Garrick for drink water too.
Yeah. I was prepared for Drinky to score, a 90 and not hurt. I won't worry because I thought Garrick's going to score a 90 at least. I was banking on the fact that, hoping that Drinky would score sub 50, which I thought was potential. And then I was worried about cash. I was trying to not lose too much from Drinky because I couldn't go on Teddy early who was going to make money. So I didn't want to be losing money from a guy that I'm going to sell next week and the other guy's also making money. So I thought if I can just make one of these trades, bring in Garrick, who's going to be a keeper, who I can lock into centre wing and then make the adjustment next week. But then the other trade I made was a stinker, Matty Burton to Cody Walker. Just trying to get extra numbers. I was pretty certain that Matty Burton was going to be at least in the top 8, in the 18th squad. But, it's pretty dumb, though, to put myself in that situation. They had a loss of the side. He was on the extended bench. His position's not that important. There's a lot of different ways. You make one change and it can change the whole dynamic of a side, So maybe they think they've got Connor Watson there who covers that. They don't need that 18th man. They need it elsewhere. So I don't know. I'm really angry with the decisions I've made.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, but you make your own luck, right? Like I've made Luttrell's been selected. I picked him 2 weeks ago going, if he has a blinder, he's going to get picked. All these sorts of things. So there's a lot of bad, I've made my own luck. Yeah.
All right. Joe's been the first guest on the podcast all year. We just don't have guests on the SuperCoach podcast. We just don't prioritize it. So thank you for coming on, Joe. He's brought sweets, which I'm going to eat. I'm going to eat one of these. What's this one?
Passion fruit.
That's
There
good.
you go.
Oh, that is good.
Okay.
No, I've been glazed guy. I actually had a donut for breakfast too, so.
There we go. You'll be buzzing today.
I don't know where to put this now. I shouldn't have done that.
Just put it backwards on the plate.
Yeah. All right. We're going to go over team list, guys. That's so unprofessional. I've never done that before. Eating on the
If
podcast.
Sangster can have KFC on the live show, you can have donuts on ours.
That's right.
All right. Team
Start a
list.
trend. Looking for a sponsor.
Donut.
LA Donuts, come on.
Donut puppy. Any donut place.
That's it.
Krispy Kreme. We can go for the big dogs.
Mm.
All right. Team lists have just dropped, and there's a lot to go through. Round 16 by. How many numbers do you have, Joe?
14.
14.
Yeah, with that Garrick.
Timmy?
I was just doing the count on the stairs. I think it's 14, including Chan and Sam Hughes, who I'm not fond of. I think that's what it is. I might have to double check, but I don't want to sit here and bore everyone with me counting through.
I've got 15, including Chan and Sam Hughes, but I think Sam Hughes is a fair number.
Yeah.
Chan is not.
No, I was so stoked on my numbers for this week, though. They just dropped off like absolute dogs.
They
balls.
really did. Dolphins play the Storm on Friday night, and Trey Fuller is back at fullback. Jermaine Asako, big break even, lost a bit of money. He's back on the wing. We've got Max Plath, who's a popular option this week. Ewan Aitken in the side. Not much else doing there. At number 17, Tavita Pangai Jr., 340K. Dual front row, second row. Joe, do you have any interest?
None whatsoever. I think the time has sort of passed for those sort of cheapy-ish players. Jewel is great. I mean, it comes out punches 50, but there's 4 forwards on the bench. I don't see in a perfect world. I think he'll probably get 20 minutes, if that, for the first few weeks.
As a Bulldogs fan, what are your thoughts?
But if I go back 4 or 5 years ago when the Dogs were in this a bit of a slump, one of my favourite players in the comp was Tavita Pangai Jr. And I just thought the right coach could unlock him and he would be, like, it's just a shame that he hasn't reached any sort of potential, like, personally. I think Wade Bennett's probably the best coach for him if you can bring him up, get something out of him the next, 7 or 8 weeks or except in the comp. Oh, good luck to him. I mean, Dogs are going pretty good without him at the moment. So it's just, some players that just don't reach the heights that they can reach, and he's one that's got so much potential. Like I said, it's a bit disappointing for him personally. So hope he does well.
Timmy, Max Plath is a popular option this week, 540K. He scored a try last week. He's got the attacking stats in him. What are your thoughts on going maybe potentially someone like Fini Fuyaki to a Max Plath to increase your depth for the bye period and potentially being like a 19th, 20th guy you can have throughout the season? What are your thoughts on going to someone like him for an end-of-season hold or a potential stepping stone to an Olukwatu?
Let's talk about Fini Fuyaki first. Do you think he's going to drop back to a bench spot, or do you think he keeps it?
Well, he has. He has. He played on the bench last week and scored 17 points. So
he did drop to the bench last week. Okay. Yeah, well, then in that case for sure, 'cause he's got a lot of value there. I thought that he looked like he was playing better than Lukey over the last little bit. Lukey's only been back for a little bit, but I don't know. I thought he offered a bit there. But
Fini Fuyaki in particular, 61 break even. So I think backing up from Origin, the last Origin he played 80 minutes after Origin. So he might play 80 minutes next week and score more than 61, which is good. But then he'll have the 17 in his break even still.
Could lose a lot of value if he just keeps coming off the bench and, he's not a playable player in your side, whereas Max Plath is, not likely to be getting dropped, I don't think, anytime soon. So I don't mind that. There's not a whole bunch of upside, like 70 with a try. I think he's more of a sort of a mid-season guy. But if you're kind of just trying to do a shift, I don't mind it from that, like Finufeki sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, his lowest score is 33. Besides that, 43 in round one. And then after that, 53, 52. Then there's 62 and 72. So he's pretty consistent. He's averaging
pretty consistent. 60s are not something you get heaps excited about, though. You know what I mean? Like
through this buy period, is it worth a trade, though? Joe?
I wouldn't. And I think the biggest question for me is he your 5'8" or is he in your back row? Because I think you can run with if you've got Dylan Brown, Cody Walker, the likes, Galvin's probably the same job with a bit more upside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you'd be putting him in second row.
Yeah, if you're in second row, I think there's better targets. He's not going to score those hundreds, which is where you want that potential. Kolomatangi can bang that 100 for about 50 grand more. Obviously, Alakawatu's going to come down in price soon after Origin, minus that big one on the weekend. But I think you want that upside. Angus Crichton's going to come bottom him out as well. I mean, it's got 100, but it just with all the restings. His Origin guys, Cam Murray, if he gets back to form, you want the guys that can score 100. I think.
I think it's sort of team dependent. Like I looked at him for a little bit because I kind of was like, I want to bring Teddy into my side, and I can't do it in one trade. I need to do it in two, which is annoying. So to do that in two, I was kind of like, I don't really want enough out and just, use a second trade to enough. If I can at least use a second trade from one guy who I kind of like, who I'd be happy to have. Like, let's say, for example, Kai Pearce-Paul. It's not going to work for me financially. But if there was enough of a gap, like if it was like that freed up enough cash for me to go to Teddy, I think that's a good trade then, just because he's a playable player rather than completely just nothing out. Like if you're just shifting from one player just to free up enough cash to get that gun you want, and you're not really losing anything in that other position. I kind of like that. I'm just in a position where I'm in headaches. I think I'm going to have to be. I know you're like, you don't want to be doing these sorts of TPJ things this time of year. He's probably on my, not this week, but next week, to free up cash to bring back, Nico or whoever it probably going to be. And then this week I've got another yucky one on the cards, which we'll get to in my trades. So
my biggest thing with Plath is he's got 4 forwards on the bench. You've got Felix Kafusi to come back into that side. It's not like there's a Donahue on the bench or like a, Nicarima someone plays off the bench that can sort of, it's just 4
pure
forwards,
middles.
Not for me.
Yeah, I agree. I said the same thing in our previous podcast. So, Melbourne Storm, Ryan Papenhuyzen is back. Any interest?
Maybe.
Nah, not for me.
Okay, so here's where I'm sort of maybeing because everything I'm looking at, like I've got 15 trades left. If I want to do a trade, most of my trades now look like they might need to get done in two. Like realistically, if you want a good player, you're usually selling a shitter player to get that good player, right? And it's going to cost money. You don't just always have the money there. You spend the money this week, and then the money's not there. So I'm going to have to be making some of these sacrifices. So this is where I'm starting to question me on low trades. Do I just sacrifice? I can't have Teddy. Yeah, he's nice, and he's probably the best to have. But because it costs me 2 trades to do it, am I better just to go Pappy? Maybe. But then I'd say to myself, am I putting myself in future headaches? Because Pappy's probably going to get injured again anyway, and then I'll be trading him out. Or, you know what I mean?
Pappy's draw over the next 3 weeks, Dolphins, Raiders, and the Tigers. It's a very nice draw. James Tedesco plays the Bulldogs this week, and Bulldogs are second in defence at the moment, only averaging 16 points a game. So, but then Teddy goes to the Tigers and then the Dragons. Then he has a round 19 bye. So they both have the round 19 bye. Both very similar draws. I think you can get just as much out of Pappy as you can with Teddy. The thing is, I feel like Teddy's ceiling is a lot higher at the moment, and Pappy's floor is a lot lower.
How much is Pappy?
690 versus 870. So you can save 200K.
Pappy might be my guy because if I'm just doing everything in 2 trades, realistically, I've got 7 trades or 7.5 trades, not 15, because you know what I mean. Like,
that's right.
Yeah.
I'm not really
using the trade
for the guys I want. Yeah. So
I don't hate it. Like for me, I got Blaze Talangi at 604. So to pay 80-90 grand extra to get Papenhuyzen, who could,
that's who I'd be
for you.
trading out to. So
It's not a bad shout.
I think I might just need to do some of these things.
And the thing is, you might get a 50 off Pappy this week versus 70 off Teddy this week, but then next week when Pappy plays, I'm pretty sure he plays the Tigers. No, he plays another team next week. You could get a much bigger score. So over the 3-week period, you could get more out of Pappy than you do Teddy. And it's kind of what I like to do. Like I'm selling drink water for Teddy this week. That's my early trade thoughts. And I like to sell people when they're at their peak for people who are at their lowest, because the people at their lowest are more likely to be much more valued to your side and be much more valuable to you. If you get someone who's already at their peak, they can only go down from there, right? So, in my opinion, I think
sometimes when you pay for guys at their peak, though, you're paying what you get. You know what I mean? You're paying for because they've performed consistently. You know what I mean? And you're like, you're trusting that that guy can have that. And the reason he has that big upside, that big average, is because he's had those killer upside scores of like a 170 or where the other guys haven't. So some guys I think you do just pay up for.
My concern with Teddy is not many people wanted to pay $700K for him to start the season. I know he's playing a lot better than he did last year. He's nearly $900K at the moment, and he's playing like a $900K player. His draw is the Bulldogs, Tigers, St. George, and he's got 2 buys between now and round the end of the year. Plays Melbourne in round 20, Manly in round 21, Dolphins in round 22. Then they have a round 23 bye. If you have Manu, Dom Young, and James Tedesco, that's the first week of head-to-head finals.
That's right.
So if you get Tedesco and you've got Dom Young and Joey Manu, you've definitely got to have a trade or 2 up your sleeve. Because I feel like these guys, if you get through that first final, very good. If you're in the top 4, it's no issue for you.
And that's what I want to do. I just want to upset head-to-head finals. I'm probably not going to go through and make, if I can just knock someone out that probably had a legitimate chance of winning the grand final, that'll make me feel good.
And throw in the mix Angus Crichton and Sam Walker, who are both very highly owned. Tyrrell May, who's very highly owned.
Exactly.
It's pretty big.
Sam Walker too, but he'll probably go before that.
I agree, but some will be short on trades. And
I think Angus Crichton will definitely be one that we all target after
Absolutely.
when he bottoms out as well. It's a shame he scored 100 on the weekend, but anyway, for the Melbourne Storm, Jerome Hughes is named 2 tons in a row with a break-even of 17, 740K. Timmy. You should have got him in.
No, it didn't work for me. If I did that, it's still I want to bring Nico in this week or next week. Not this week. Next week. Yeah, potentially. I might watch him go around one more time to lose more money.
His break-even's 218 at the moment.
Well, I probably will let him play one more game, but I don't know. Maybe that could have been but that's it. I didn't want to be doing a 3-week trade, and that's so. The reason I sort of brought in Cody is I decided I could keep him. I could have just kept Burton too and just passed on Cody, but because I thought Burton was going to miss the buys, I thought it was worth taking that punt. But just it's still dumb.
It made sense at the time, though.
I'd done my head in over it a lot, and nothing really made sense throughout this weekend trying to process the thoughts. Hey, it was pretty scattered. And then the more you'd have someone drop out, like you'd go, oh, Kai Pearce-Paul's, I hear he's going to not be play. That starts playing into the rest of your decision making. Then the next player drops out, and it's kind of like now you're starting to get defeated, and then you're just trading.
Yeah, I think like for me last week, I had Kai Pearce-Paul go out, obviously Dom Young, and then I was like, geez, what do I do? I reluctantly played like a Liam Henry, who 47. I think I played a Jaden Brayley, for example. I couldn't fathom wasting a trade on like a Kai Pearce-Paul trade. There wasn't much out there with three games left in the round that were playing the next big buy rounds because all those sort of teams have played the Warriors and the Storm, so I didn't get a pick from those guys. So sometimes you got to sit in your hands a little bit and sort of take a 30 or 40 point just for the long run. So.
Yeah, but with Jerome Hughes, 740k. Do you have him, Joe?
I got him in 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
so
you're very happy.
Many things I did right this year, but I was hoping S-Check will sort of hold some sort of value, but he's lost 120 and another massive break even. I've held him for the last 6-7 weeks.
You held him.
There was never good halfbacks. I wasn't big on Sam Walker personally, and that proved me a bit wrong. But
he's up and down.
Yeah, SJ, not kicking goals. That hurts. So got to ride, I guess, the next few weeks. Hopefully, he can sort of stem the bleeding, and then.
Yeah, he was very quiet on the weekend.
Extremely.
So with Jerome Hughes, what's your plan? Are you planning on going to Cleary? Because the way he's playing at the moment, I'm gonna struggle to want to let him go. But it just feels like he's the perfect stepping stone to someone like Hines or Cleary.
Absolutely, that's why I probably got him in for that reason. But he's doing. With no Cameron Munster, Wishart's sort of more running half, whereas Jerome's doing most of the kicking and. His combination with Cattell was fantastic, and then Folonga with his speed, any sort of pass becomes his try assist when he gives him a bit of space because not much of a passer for Folonga. When he gets to the try, like it's an easy 20 points. There's just so many avenues for him to score points. So and he doesn't miss many tackles. Like whenever I'm looking at my back rowers, are up against like a Ben Hunt or Jerome Hughes, I'm like these guys are good defenders. They always get low to hang on. Those back rowers don't get past them, so that's another string to his bow. So happy with him,
yeah.
He's doing a number.
I like it. And Silfalongo keeps his spot on the wing for owners, so that's a valuable buy number purchase this week.
So it's tossing up between him and Dallin.
Xavier Coates is out this week, though, so he might not keep his position next week. On to the Titans versus the Warriors at Seabus, 3 p.m. Saturday. Keanu Keeney keeps his spot. My trade in, Brian Kelly keeps his spot. 1,000 people own him. I'm very happy with that.
Of course he keeps his spot.
I'm just pointing out that he's in the team. Jaden Campbell keeps his spot at 5'8", and Dave Feeder is named.
So, why not keep his spot? Let's just keep on the trend.
I have a bit of a dilemma this week. So I don't have Dave Feeder. I'm looking at only using one trade, and that's Drinky to Tedesco. David Feeder, I feel like he doesn't feel like a must-have to me this week with Jaden Campbell inside him. I think he is a must-have for the rest of the season. I think it will work out for itself, but with lingering injuries, the bye next week, I'm leaning towards just kind of passing. Like, I'd prefer to have him than not have him, but I don't feel like I need to go out of my way to get him this week because I can't do it in one trade.
I think, as you mentioned with Papenhuyzen and Tedesco debate, took it for fair the next 2 weeks. So if he punches out 80 this week and has a bye next week, that's 40 points a week. So if you look at it that way, just happens to go score 120, but people are going to captain him or vice captain him, be in a bye week as well. So, and then obviously the second game of the week, he may be a late pull out as well. So you never know.
That's what I'm hoping for.
I'm hoping for your sake too.
Yeah. So for Feeder in my side,
what was his thing? It was just a hammy tweak, or who had the hammy? They all had a hammy tweak throughout the weekend, didn't
something
they?
like that. I don't know. It was so random. It just the team list dropped on the Friday, and he just wasn't there. There was no word about it or whatsoever. But for me, I think Jaden Campbell just kills that left edge. He never makes the right decision. He either kicks or cuts out to the winger.
Or steps inside.
Yeah.
But you did point out, we had a chat about this throughout the week. I was thinking, why don't they just put David Fafita on the right then if they're going to have Foz on the right? And then you pointed out that they're playing...
Firma played on the left last week, so maybe that's something they will do. with Fermor alongside Fafita.
It's
If-
like
if
they've
that's the
always wanted
case-
their best forward on the left. They've always seemed to do that. When Fafita was available, they'd stick him there, and then when Fermor was there, they'd stick him there. And I thought that was more of a Foz thing than anything, and then it's not. So I don't know. I reckon they need to pair them up together.
It's a weird one, but I guess for Brian Kelly's sake, Fafita being back can only be a good thing, right?
Absolutely.
So I feel like I'm not missing out completely. If I miss out on him this week, if he gets 150, then that's my own fault.
Yeah, if you're only getting him because of FOMO, then don't. Yeah, if you feel like that's...
I don't feel like I need to, but I feel like the weeks leading up to it, I really wanted to get him. But now I've just gone a bit cold. I don't feel like I need him, but he will be in my final team. For the Warriors, Chance Nickel Clockstad. Thoughts on him? He could be one of them fullback options instead of Papenhuyzen. I think he's been going just as good. Don't know if the ceiling is there as much, but I think over this next 3-week period, he can have the same average as one of these other guys we're talking about. Joe, do you like?
Mate, I own CNK midway through the season. He came and punched a couple of 90s in a row. His base was phenomenal. And then I think I saw him when he played 5'8", and he still scored 9 yard or something. It was a bit of a dagger, but he'll do a job. And if they get that humming sweeping play where he just goes out the back, outside SJ and tips on like he does, he scores points for fun. Got that solid base and you got that upside, so I don't hate it.
I'm sure they'll put whatever wingers on that right wing over for 5 this weekend just to rub it in my face.
That'll be so on brand with this year, won't it?
Yeah.
RTS is back at centre. Sean Johnson backs up after coming back from injury. Adam Fennell-Blake in the front row. Nia Corey and Dylan Walker on the edges, and their bench is quite light. Nothing else doing here. Adam Fennell-Blake, have you got him in your side yet?
No, I'm just sort of plodding away with my... I should probably look at doing something there. I've got Curran, who I'm pretty happy with for the most part. I mean, I would like more. I've expected more from him. I thought there'd be more upside in him. He's sort of been solid and hasn't really had that upside that he had at the Wars. But he's not someone that's going to go for me. But I've got Terrell May there at 584K. He's, it might be just a smart move to just make a call on him at some point and just go to AFB, because if you're going to get 27 some week and 80 some weeks,
you're better
27. Yeah, I just
70 every week from AFB.
Yeah, so that might be a smart move to make. But then again, with my trade numbers, I think I'll deal with other problems. I think that's something other people should look at though, if they're sitting more in your camp with 20 trades maybe. But then again, it's one you can just sort of watch and wait and play out. If there's just another injury or into that side, maybe he's, gets more minutes on a more regular basis. He's going to get good minutes now, so I wouldn't be selling him now, because with Lindsay, this is the period. That's why he played so limited minutes last week, so they're going to unleash him this week.
Yep.
And then I've got Tom Malolo there at 400K. So, yeah, don't really love him or Sam Hughes, but might be hard to get them up to one of those guys. So if I was going to do it, it'd probably have to be Terrell May and then have those other guys as backups.
I wasn't an AFB owner for a bit, probably till round 7 or 8, and I think locking him in, he didn't feel like a priority every week, but once I locked him in, it just felt good, and he scored probably 300 or 400 since then, and every week he does that, I'm just like, thank God I did it.
It's a really big boost to the team squad.
Especially in the front row, he's always in the team of the week most weeks for the front row, especially when he scores, and he scores that much. For the Roosters, James Tedesco back, Dom Young back. So that's a good thing for...
Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. You never know. This will be one of those ones he pulls out again. So
I wouldn't be selling this week.
Nah.
Just in general, say he pulls out and you have the opportunity to sell him, Joe. Do you hold on to him for the rest of the season?
Had a massive break even, so this is the time to do it.
Because what you said about the Roosters before, about having, if you got too many of them in that later buy, maybe you do make that sort of...
He's the guy you kind of do sacrifice, right?
Yeah.
But I'll be holding him.
It's a big call.
I think he's just out of any winger, he's got huge upside.
Absolutely.
If he plays this week, 100% you keep him. But maybe, if he doesn't, you could consider it if you're targeting... especially if you're trying to find a way to Teddy in one trade, like me.
Dom Young.
Yeah, maybe I could look at that instead of a Pappy
The only issue is you'll need to wait till Saturday to make sure that Dom Young is out or in.
Unless you get that sort of stupid rumours throughout the weekend.
Stupid rumours.
Well, even if they're right, I don't like them. I'd rather be surprised and upset than stressed out all weekend.
Yeah, that's true. I do agree with that.
You know,
Terrell may start, so he'll get 80 minutes this week. To be fair, if you're struggling for a captain option, like Teddy's probably going to be the most captain player this week.
I think you got a little bit of. Yeah, you're right, brother. I got you.
Oh, geez, that's been there for the whole
A
episode
little
already.
bit of passion fruit.
Yeah, I know.
Little passion on your lip.
I really want to eat it again. That was so nice, but I'll be out for like 5 minutes. Yeah, if Tedesco isn't a slam dunk purchase in your mind,
I think he's pretty slammy.
Slam dunk captain in your mind. He's playing the Bulldogs, who defensively
Okay,
they've been so good. I think Terrell May's a great option.
Well, he proved that last bye when against the Cowboys, 100 odds, got a try.
So
like 70
conservative, though. If you've got Teddy and Terrell May on your side and going, I'm playing for the safe 60 to 80 that I know Terrell can get, you know what I mean? Rather than going, you just take Teddy, man.
With one player, Teddy gets that 70 to 80, doesn't he? So you bank on a few plays.
You were correct. For the Bulldogs,
Maybe they exploit that. Sorry to cut you off. That Stephen Crichton spot. Oh, they've got Carraz there and Zeri, so they're still solid. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was saying next. Carraz with 150 break even. Obviously, if you got him, you hold on to him. But with someone like Carraz, are you eyeing him off for the end of the season? Obviously, with Crichton to come back, he goes back on that wing. I don't love him on the left. I love him when Addo-Carr comes back and he goes on the right, because the right seems like their dominant side, does it?
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
He's someone I'll probably look at later in the season.
I think it's just because the Fox, when he was there, wasn't seeming to get as many tries on the left, and maybe I think they were just scoring before it got to the Fox. Zeri was getting a couple, Birdo cross for a few.
We'll talk all off-season with our left edge is going to be the stronger one with Kikau and
but
Burden.
they did seem to go right.
Toby Sexton, he demands a lot more ball, gets a lot more crisp ball.
Yeah.
Connor Tracy with his speed prefers to go to the right-hand side. Mate, Carraz with his 45, 50 base.
I like him as a final guy. I'd like to get him. I'm pretty chocker. I've been pretty chockers there all year. But once I move Garrick back, it'd be hard to afford. But I'd have the guys that I would sacrifice would be, I've got Blaze Tuanga who can go ASAP, Dallin or Eero, but it'd be hard to get up to him. And then I've got 4 out-and-out guns. Once I move Garrick up there, it's 5 like primo 700k guys.
I could see myself around with 3 centering reserves in my final 17.
Well, that's another thing I've been battling
Holmes,
with.
Carraz, Dom Young, Manu.
I'm worried I'm gone too over the top with it, because if you do have the 3, right, then you can have your fullback as well, but then you're missing one of your halves. Okay. So I guess
But when's Cleary back? And when's he fit and firing? True. I don't hate it. That's what I'm toying with. I think probably get ahead of the curve a little bit, because the upside of these centre wings this year has been crazy. It's been unbelievable.
I think that's why I'm okay holding Iro for the rest of the year. Canoe, as we call him. He actually, I figured out the other day that Canoe is the perfect nickname for him, because his last name is Iro.
I love it.
That's funny.
So Canoe is his name. That's why I'm happy to hold him, because he's got a good draw. He's got a really good draw, and he's someone that you're kind of not scared to leave out either. So he could be that guy that you can leave out for the halfback, for the extra second row, for the extra 580 if you want to play it week to week. Yeah. I really like having that player there. But then again, I've got Ethan Strange and Iro in my centre wing at the moment, so one of them is going to go to a gun. Maybe Dylan Lucas will come up into my centre wing for me. So I'm very keen to hold, and yeah. All right, moving on. The Bulldogs, Josh Curran is named second row. You're very excited to have him back.
Not an owner. Haven't been all year. I think, like you said, it's a bit of a plotter.
You're a Doggies fan, though.
Oh, I love him. One of my favourite players. Great acquisition for us. But just SuperCoach-wise, if he plays on the edge for 80 minutes, I do like it. But
I don't think he will, to be honest.
He's always probably get benched and he'll give you 55, 60 points and he scores a try. There's no huge upside.
Yeah.
But if you got him, you'd be happy. You wouldn't get rid of him.
I don't know. I was looking at the bench and thinking maybe this week could be his best chance to actually stay at second row because just they moved Turpin once before into lock, I think, but then I can't see him moving Hayward to.
You're probably right. There's no Preston. There's no Kick-Out. Salmon is playing on an edge. He has been playing on the edge already.
Kick-Out extended bench, number 23.
He is too. And there you go.
Lipoi Hopai is a back row as well coming through. Young fella. He's been playing in the middle. But yeah, you think Curran, surely.
Yeah, well, if Kick-Out comes in.
At worst, yeah. If Kick-Out comes in. At worst, I'd say 60 minutes on the edge. And then move into the middle.
To be honest, I think with Josh Curran, he's a goer regardless. So I think it doesn't matter where he plays. Like, it's not going to affect your Supercoach side. You're probably not going to buy him. You're probably not going to sell him.
And he's in your front row. So.
The 11-day thing was interesting, though, because it does seem to be on the 11th day.
We had the bye last week. No.
Yeah, they had the bye.
Yeah, but still
11 days because it was a Monday game.
Yeah. So I was obviously not nervous to see how this one would
Curran
play
and
out.
Hayward were both concussed. Both are named.
Obviously not. The Rabbitohs play the Manly Sea Eagles, and the Manly Sea Eagles are absolutely decimated. Jai Gray is back for the Rabbitohs, which means Alex Johnson keeps his wing spot. I think a lot of people were potentially looking at him because he was playing fullback. I actually like him a lot better on the left wing. But with Cody Walker playing halfback and predominantly right side, I don't like Alex Johnson. I feel like he's a pickup this time of year every year. But this year,
big no for me. You've got no Latrell to feed him with those cutout passes. You've got Jack Wyden, who also is more of a runner than a passer. And like you said, Cody on the right. Geez, 400K, you couldn't do any worse.
So tempting at the price, isn't it?
Yeah, but who's going to give him that?
Looks like they're just
ball?
playing a lot different footy to that standard just out the back that they used to do. And like just the last couple of weeks, I know he got one last week, but it just doesn't look like he's going to get much footy. So there's too much. Without tries, he scores us. So
yeah, I was actually at the Blues training yesterday for the coach clinic for the kids. My kids are having a coaching clinic. I was speaking to Latrell a fair bit, and I asked him about Cody, and he goes just so much more freer that he's not sort of shackled to one side. He's been given a license to roam, and they're playing happy. So there is a chance he does go left, but I think predominantly the right hand side is his edge. Wyden's dominant half as well.
He kind of seems like he's playing the left differently though when he's even on the left. Like it's not.
Well, and as Latrell said to me, he goes, teams can't sort of just dominate and sort of stick to defending our left edge. They've got to, because Cody's going on the right. Yeah. So it's exciting as a Cody.
Probably nice work by Hornby, isn't it?
Yeah.
The good thing about Latrell being out this week means Cody Walker might be that last pass.
Yep.
Jai Gray still in the side, still decent ball player, but I think naturally the side is more used to Cody running that sweep play. So I do like Cody as an option this week. Potential captain option if you want to go left field. A good thing with Cody, he's been playing halfback for a couple of games now. He will pick up that halfback duel, which has been... These updates this year have been so good. Like Dylan Brown getting it has been invaluable for my side. Cody Walker is going to pick it up in round 18. I think Cody Walker stays in my side for the rest of the year.
Who kicks goals in this game?
Good question. Maybe Jai Gray. Cody Walker?
Damon Cook has kicked before.
Yeah, good question. We'll keep an eye out for that one. Maybe Cody picks up the tee.
Well, Jai Ara clicked as well in his milestone game. You never know.
He did too. For the Manly Sea Eagles, the reason why I think Cody is a good captain option, they are decimated. So they got Lehigh Hopewade, Jason Saab, and Tommy Talau on the wing, Shoop and Cooler in the centres, Luke Brooks, and they're playing Carl Lawton at halfback, Ethan Bullymore and Sipley in the front row. Sipley did his MCL, so he's just been named. I think they're just trying to figure out what the go is. Jake Simkin at hooker, Waddell and Trebojevic on the edges, Nathan Brown at lock. With their bench, Jordan Chen Tong, Ben Condon, Caleb Naval, and Atasi James. So these are a lot of players that we haven't seen a lot of, and I guess we saw what happened with the Tigers last week where their young side stepped up, but they still leak points, they still leak line breaks, they still miss tackles. I think you'd be pretty happy if you owned any Rabbitohs this game. I think this is one of the games to target.
They've got a lot of players out, but apart from their bench, when you start mentioning the bench, that's where it starts to look like it starts to add up.
Fatigue is going to be the issue here. Sipley, he'll probably come out, and then I don't know who goes into front row. Maybe Waddell plays middle and Brad Parker comes in on the second row. Or
Condon.
Condon as well, yeah.
I really don't know what's going to happen there. Maybe Jamie Humphries comes in and plays halfback, and then Carl Lawton goes on to the edge or something.
Yeah, Brooks will be the dominant half of it. He'll control the team
Yeah,
and steer the
for sure.
team. And Lawton's like a running 5'8".
And then their backs are like not that bad. You know what I mean? They've got that Lehigh Hapawadi, Talau, Saab, Kula.
No Garrick, though.
Shop's pretty handy. He's pretty defensive
Solid
too. He's
defender,
a pretty
yeah.
good defender. But yeah, I see what you mean. They're a much weaker Manly side for
Yeah.
sure.
And I think Rabbits are hungry. They're at home, so I'll be looking at targeting that game. Maybe not too hard because it could backfire.
Yeah.
The West Tigers play the Raiders, and for the West Tigers, Lockie Galvin is back. How good? I think we'll bank you on this number, and he was one of the more traded out players last week. I feel like if you had the choice between Galvin and Burton,
I was
Timmy,
either selling one of them, and I wish I'd sold Galvin over
You reckon?
Burton. 100%. Like I'd rather play Burton week in, week out.
well, Burton's playing the Roosters this week, and Galvin is playing the Canberra
Yeah, but
Raiders.
nothing's a 1 week play. Like it's for
That's
the
true.
season.
It's
Yeah.
true. For the Tigers, they look pretty similar to last week. Happy is back at 9, which is very good. And Fata Ape keeps his wing spot. Olam and Naden in the centres. Alex Seafarth off the bench. Samuel Afenu. They look very similar to last week. And for the Raiders, Jordan Rapana, 10th most traded in player this week, 550,000. Kicking goals. He has high upside.
He's maybe another guy in the category of that I should be considering as well. Like Papenhuyzen is more the names fancier. You know what I mean? It's kind of for SuperCoach has done that before as well.
Rapana did it for you last year. Didn't he score like 150 for you?
He might have had one good game, but I don't know. Like, but just the fact that I feel like he's still injury prone, but I feel like he's less injury prone than Pappy, and I don't know. I'll probably go Pappy because he's kind of somewhat feels a little bit closer to Teddy, in upside.
You'll be stoked with an 80 from Rapana, but an 80 from Pappy, you're like, oh, could have got more.
He's busy. I like it. Kicking goals is probably 12 or 16 points, hopefully, in goals. I don't hate it, actually.
I think that's
He's never even centre wing too. That's the
yeah.
mad thing.
I think that's the thing I like. I'll read out his previous score. So, 82 and 67 in his last two. Played the Roosters and scored 34.
Yeah.
53, 55, 55, 93, 53. So he has one score of 34, and besides that, his lowest score is 53.
Yeah, you don't want that 53, but because it's a centre wing, you don't care. I'm just picturing it at fullback. At fullback, you don't want that.
I
yeah.
100% agree. But
Centre wing, that's fine. We've been copping that week after week from here on. We're happy enough with it. I like Rapana as a buy-in. I don't know if I'm going to do it because I don't think I can afford to. I probably could. If I was to do Blaze to Pappy instead of Teddy, then I could use my second trade to go Dallin to him, right? To Rapana.
I love how everything you talk about, you're talking about how it'll affect your side if you got them in.
Yeah.
We're trying to help people, you know?
Well,
Not
what-
help your side.
Yeah, what you've got to realise when you talk about your things, that also other people then understand that, if they've got those players, then it affects them. But then if you're talking about your side and the way you talk about the decision making for your side, it helps them think about the way they decision make from their side. The reason I became good at SuperCoach is because I started listening to the way the Spy talked about how he was doing, how he approached his side.
I like it.
So, yeah.
I've got no stats here, but Rapana loves playing against the Tigers as well. Back
He
in
does.
the Rapana days, him and Leilua, I could imagine there's probably the highest average.
Do you reckon there's any chance that they...
His high score is 163, just while we're on that note. He averages 75 against the Tigers.
There you go.
Do you reckon there's any chance that they bring Chevy back into the squad at some point and just move him into centre or wing or something?
I don't think so. I think they're kind of locked in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Seb Chris would probably before.
I was just wondering whether, because they gave him a bit and he did imply he was going to bring him back, and I just thought maybe he might.
When Rapana gets injured again, probably.
Fair.
But
He's a Ricky Short kind of player. Just tough, uncompromising, doesn't stop.
they've got enough young players in the
Yeah.
spine already. So I think having Rapana there really evens it out for them. I think I was looking at Matthew Timoko last week, and I nearly got him made, but I held off the trade. But I think him versus Rapana, I like Rapana a lot more. I think he's got a lot more about him, and I like it. Ethan Strange, I'm very excited to watch him go against the Tigers this week. I got him in my side. Morgan Smithies, I hope this is the last week I have to
no
play.
one cares if you got him in your side. Like, honestly, what's that affect? How does that affect people that are listening to the podcast? Whether you're happy that you've got him in your side?
Yeah. Let's go through the top 10 traded in players. James Tedesco, number 1. We've talked about him. Jerome Hughes, number 3. Lehigh Hopewade, number 3. We skimmed past him, but I want to hear your thoughts, Joe, and a bit of insight on the year you won. The fullback is such a predominant position to score points in SuperCoach, and Lehigh Hopewade, it seems like a couple of these pop up every year. Like we had Trey Fuller earlier in the year. I feel like this is the right time to do it because we're affected by buys. All the high ceiling players are there's no clear 2 at the moment. I feel like it's a good time to jump on Lehigh Hopewade. It is awkward. He has the bye next week, and Tommy is due back shortly, but I don't hate the trade in.
Yeah, not for me. I want those guns, especially at fullback. And effectively, if you got him last week, got that first 120 price rise, I would be happier with that. He looks a footballer. I wish it was dual. Give him the centre wing, that would have been unreal. Yeah, it's a pass for me. Even the Massa said and drink water. I know he's got 3 buys left, but he's let no one down. He's got 100 last week, 100 week before. I think it's 3 tons in a row.
Yep.
So after this, you're probably selling for the round 19 buy. I can handle holding him. Yeah, I don't know.
Turbo's back soon. It could be a bit of a question mark about whether I hear Turbo might move to centres or something. But if he doesn't, then
he might get a few weeks at fullback first, while Turbo comes back through centre. I don't think they end up like that.
But then who they leave out? You got Cooler, you got Garrick.
I think Garrett goes to the left wing for Talau.
they could leave Talau out, but
how much stronger does their side look if... it doesn't really look that much. It looks way stronger with Tommy at fullback.
Yeah, I wouldn't be making the sacrifice just to fit that young fella in. Like, it seems weird because, like, Cooler's good enough back there as well. Unless they think Cooler's what they need at centre. I don't know.
I think that's why Lehigh Hopewade is playing there now, because maybe that's the option when Tommy comes back. But
I'd be kind of tempted if you just need to free up a whole bunch of cash to make future moves, and I'd be kind of more tempted to hold off and go Fletcher Sharp next week.
Yeah, and like you said, though, trades are a minimum now. Do you want to Hopewade? You got to trade him back at
stepping stones.
Two trades. How much money
depends on how many numbers you got, though. You know what I mean? If you were able to, I see what you mean because you got two spots in fullback. Normally, I'd be against it, but because it's kind of like
the buy period, it's so affected by buys and Origin.
If you needed to free up cash and you could free up enough cash to do enough things and him also make enough cash at the same time to then be able to move back, it could really make things easy.
Yeah, the thing is you don't want him stuck there and not being able to get someone when you want them. I think by round 20 he needs to be gone because by the back end of the season you need two guns there. So
benefit to getting him though is because you do free up that much cash in it. If you are to use that cash for other trades, you might not need to, make other downgrade trades to free up for other. You know what I mean? So you can actually bring in bring in one primo guy that you need this week, downgrade to that Lehigh Hopewade, and then you've still got money left over next week to upgrade another guy as well. Or depending on how much you spend, you could potentially upgrade 3 players. You know what I mean? Yeah. So rather than each week that you make trades going, I need to downgrade one guy to upgrade another guy, you could get it all.
You see, Tim, you touched on Fletcher Sharp. If you can, I think most people are covered for this week, 13, 14 players, 15 players. Fletcher Sharp plays round 19. I think Pong is still 2 months away. What I read today, still all the way.
More security.
Yeah, and he plays round 19, which is a tougher buy to cover. He plays round 20, that little mini buy as well after.
Frees up an extra 100K.
Exactly. Minus 67 break even, that could be the option. And probably wait a week and see if Armstrong does get named. And then if he doesn't, Sharp looks pretty sharp by nature.
And to be fair, with Fletcher Sharp, I think he's got the position 100%. Yeah. Like there's no doubt in my mind. I think Fletcher Sharp was the first choice anyway. But with Fletcher Sharp, I think by the time you're ready to sell him to a gun, it'll be okay to nuff about that time. So you can nuff, a Sam Hughes to a 200K player, make 200K. If Fletcher Sharp is hopefully 500K by then, you can get a gun
And very playable in the meantime.
Whereas if you're doing it right now, you're nuffing someone. These numbers that we have, like the Sam Hugheses, the Liam Henrys, they're so crucial right now. I think by the time he's ready to sell, they won't be as crucial.
The only stressful thing is the thing you're pointing out, though, like is if they haven't done their job, it's a bit like the Fuller thing. Like when people were wanting to bring in Fuller around 13, like if then you kind of like, shit, I can't. I remember people who had Fuller like, well, I can't really bring this player in. I can't remember who it is.
He's not expensive enough to move on.
Yeah, or they kind
easily.
of had to justify holding him because they could play him that week and he still had to make money.
Yep.
But they really wanted this other player that was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the other thing that you
This
kind
actually ties in with a question I got from a guy named Dirty Kebabs, weird name. Fast forward to round 20, who are the two primo fullbacks you want to run in from round, like after Origin, if everyone's fit? Who would you want to
I've been tossing this up in my mind like so much.
I can't even pick one.
Yeah, I can't even pick one. And I think that's why I'm keeping Latrell over Drinkwater this week.
Yep.
I'm selling Drinkwater to Teddy, and I think that's just because the Bunnies are in a position where they can make the 8 and they have no time to be complacent. And I think just Latrell loves being an underdog. And I think he's the type of player that can hurt you later in the season if he's in the mood. So that's a massive if. Drinkwater still has 3 buys to go from now. I know Latrell misses the next 2 weeks and then probably plays Origin around 19. But it just feels like short term, Drinky's probably better hold, but long term, I'd rather have Latrell in my side. Goal kicking as well.
So who do you partner him up with?
I think that's why I've gone Teddy, because I think he's a very good option. But there also could be, Turbo. I don't think Papenhuyzen.
Doesn't seem like he's going to be one of those guys. Hey, but he's going to be for me, I think, because I can afford him and he's available now. So
it's interesting because, like I said, that Hopewadi play or the Fletcher Sharp play, it's a big cash upgrade to get to one of these guns. And it's trades, like you said.
I could potentially do that actually, because the way I was looking at getting Teddy this week was if I had to do it. I was like, I'd probably want to sell Pierce Paul, but I couldn't find who I would go to. So I decided I'm probably happy just to cut ties with Jaden Brayley. And I thought I could go to Jake Simpkin for 200K. Not that I want to play him, but you know what I mean? It's just frees him up and maybe he's playable.
Do you want to waste that money trade on your second hooker?
Not really, but you know what I mean? When I couldn't find anyone that I was trying to find someone that was just a little bit off KPP that would free up the cash I need, and I just couldn't find it. So, I don't know, I thought maybe I'd just get rid of Jaden Brayley, who looks like he's going terribly. Mm-hmm. But now, if we talk about it, maybe the better option for me is to sell... I won't be able to do it. Yeah, because I'd have to get rid of... I couldn't do it because I've got to keep Latrell and he's holding up that spot, so I can only move one of those centre wing fullbacks to one of those spots.
I think Turbo's the biggest wild card too. We haven't even talked about Dylan Edwards, who's the second top highest scoring Supercoach player in the game. He's the highest averaging fullback, 93.6. We know Penrith are only going to get better towards the end of the season when Cleary's back. Dylan Edwards?
He was like on my mind when you were sort of throwing around the others, but I just think because the lack of the upside, and I know it sounds silly because he's consistently scoring 90s, but I'm just that greedy bugger that just wants the guy that can go 150, 200. And because I think it's been acceptable to take Dylan Edwards' 90, which is great. Like I'm not shitting on 90 or Dylan Edwards, but because there's been not other guys in that position that have been killing it, that are like a lot of the upside guys, like Ponga's not been available, Turbo's not been available. So
he's been ultra consistent, hasn't he?
Yeah, so that's why you could bank on having a guy like that. But I think maybe, I'd prefer one of those upside guys, but he's been fit. These other guys aren't fit. Maybe they come back and they're a bit, not 100%, and then they get injured again.
And you're the Panthers expert. Does he get the goal kicking back off Alamotti? Because Alamotta's been struggling pretty well. So.
Oh, jeez, I don't know.
I
think he would. I think he missed one shocker on the week. I think it was his first kick, Alamotti. I could be wrong, but I think his first one was a bit Shothouse, but I might be thinking about Garrick because that was his. Yeah, Garrick's first one was real shite. Yeah, I don't know. I'd probably go with Dylan though.
Jaden Campbell is also in the top traded in list, 486,000 with a 7 break even. Looked good on the weekend, despite the fact he only passed to his winger, stepped inside or kicked for himself. He's got the Warriors this week, plays the Sharks, and then Parramatta the following weeks. 5'8" fullback. He is on the most traded in week this week. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. What are your thoughts, Joe?
Yeah, I looked at him last week, the Galvin to Jaden Campbell trade. But again, I don't see him as a keeper to the end. And that's, I can see Galvin averaging 50. I can see Jaden Campbell averaging 50. It's not something, I'm reluctant to do it. I think one gun, I've got Dylan Brown there. He'll do a job. Galvin will cover when Dylan Brown's out on a bye, what have you. Yeah, I just want to spend my money elsewhere and my guns elsewhere.
I agree. Jermaine Asako goes down to 649,000 with 119 break even. We looked at his draw earlier in the year, Timmy, and it's not very good. He plays the Storm this week, the Dragons, and then the Rabbitohs. And then after the bye period, he plays Penrith, Gold Coast, Roosters, Warriors, Bulldogs, Melbourne, Broncos, and then Newcastle. It's an awful
he's a
draw.
shitty buy, but I think if you've got him, you hold him.
Yeah, I agree.
I can't.
You can't justify selling him.
Not now when you need a buy number. At some point in the season, if you've got more trade numbers and you're just frustrated by him and you wanted to go to someone a bit more proven week in, week out, maybe later in the year. But because, I just haven't felt confident with him, even owning him. It's kind of like if he scores, you get excited, really excited for it.
Yeah.
And he's a winger, so it just hasn't been happening as much as it has last year, I reckon.
He's dipped to his lowest price of the season at 600.
And the last time he did that,
49, exactly right, with a high break even, he reached it. I'm thinking that's my trade this week. Blaze to him.
Really?
I love Herbie. I'm a big Herbie fan.
Herbie.
Massive Herbie fan, but he's, upwards of 750 grand now, so that's a Brian Kelly pod play as well.
How much is he? 6-ish?
Isaaco, 649.
Yeah, it's a good price. Bloody over good price.
All right, captains this week. Oh, sorry, trades. What trades are you doing? I'll start off because I'm doing one trade, Drinky to Teddy. I'm holding Latrell over Drinky. I just think Drinky, I'm not going to be as scared to not own Drinky later in the season. I think every week Drinky's gone well. There's been other fullbacks who've done just as well. Like this week, Drinky scored 89, Teddy scored 98. The week, I think Drinky scored 100 one week, Teddy scored 151. So what I like about having Latrell is the goal kicking, and Teddy's in my side because his draw is phenomenal for the rest of the year. Having him during the bye period, it feels like the last time we had Teddy in a bye period was back in the Tigers days. So I'm so keen to have Teddy in my side. I think he's someone who can be in your side for the rest of the season, the captain option on most weeks. So I like him. Last
time we had Teddy in a bye period was round 13 this year for about 2 hours in our side until we found out that Edwards was injured, and then Teddy came out of their side, which hurt. That was annoying. Let's hope that doesn't happen again.
Yeah. I can potentially go, a Papenhuyzen instead of Tedesco, and then go Fini Furiaki straight to Fafita.
I don't think you should do that.
I only want to spend one trade this week.
I
have enough numbers.
Teddy.
Yeah, I'm bringing in Teddy. Yeah. That leaves me with 14 trades, and hopefully I only use 4 between after this round. My numbers are good for next week, so I don't need to spend 2. Hopefully that only leaves me with 4 trades after round 19. Oh, sorry, leaves me with 10 trades after round 19, and then I can look at getting in Haas and
the guns back, Nico's and Cleary.
Well, Nico should be in my side before round 18, I assume, or about round 18.
You'd want that. Yeah.
What are your trades, Joe?
It looks like I've got Armstrong, I've got Blaze to go. I'm going to downgrade I'm going to do 3 trades probably this week. Downgrade one of my forwards, maybe Liam Henry. Bring in Teddy, Jermaine Asako, and obviously I look at probably enough in my second row, front row, or maybe enough that's playing this week, and then we'll be out of my side. Yeah.
Timmy?
Nice. Yeah, so I'm probably going to go to Teddy.
Mm-hmm.
I reckon that's the way I'll end up going. And if I can find it's okay in my mind to go to Pappy, I'm just really worried about doing it on the first game. feel like
Yeah, if it goes bad, it's going to be a bad
I
weekend.
feel like I can just see myself sitting here next week. Just sort of, I can already feel like,
Back your gut, man.
yeah, I don't know. So that's a possibility, but Rapana's a slight chance as well. So maybe one of those. I'd love to just make one trade, but if I make the Teddy trade, it'll have to be two, and it probably will be nothing out to that Jake Simpkin guy.
Jake Simpkin.
Yeah, I'd have to sell.
Oh, I don't mind that. I don't mind that.
Really.
Yeah.
He scored 45 on the weekend, and I think he'll.
Chenkam Tong's on the bench this week, so I don't think he's going to be getting 80.
I think Simpkin's a better hooker.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've watched
Yeah.
Chen Kum Tong, but every time he picks up the ball, he looks like
Like a
he
knocks on?
drops. Yeah,
Oh, I noticed that. I was only one.
yeah. No one's
Yeah.
mentioned it.
No, don't get it.
Watch him when he picks up the ball, Jordan Ken.
He rolls
Chen
it
Kum Tong.
towards the opposing attack line, then he'll flick it out. Yeah.
Yeah, it just looks like he
Very
drops
weird.
it every time. All right, the tipping point. We'll get Joe involved on this, but we'll set our lines. We'll get our lines, and he just gets to choose whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Okay, so the tipping point. You are on 2 out of 8 wins. I got the win last week. You chose Jerome Hughes under 90, Cody Walker over 70, and Talakai over 56. And I got all 3 right. So I am, what am I? 6 out of 8. So hopefully you can come back this week. The players we're doing is James Tedesco, Lehigh Hopewade, and Jordan Rapana. I'll get Joe to set the line for us. So this is a game where we set the line.
I know it.
Oh, you know it? Okay, so James Tedesco, you can set the line for us.
85.
I'll go higher than 85 and go to 90.
I'll go under 90. What are you going, Joe?
55, I reckon, I guess. I'm going to go under.
So under. Very good.
I'm back in the dog.
Yeah, doggies.
Yeah.
All right, Lehigh Hopewade.
Depleted Manly side, I'm going to say 45.
Lehigh Hopewasi. That's the line. You say higher or lower.
Oh, I'll go higher. I'll go to 50.
I'll go. Fuck, this is awkward. I'll go lower. I'll go lower.
Oh, fuck. Okay, I'll take that. And Jordan Rapana, our pot of the week.
Jordan Rapana.
70.
Okay, I'll go higher than 70 and go to 72.
I'll go higher than 70 and go 80. 72. Sorry, 80.
I'll go higher than 80 and go to 85. You said 82, didn't you?
Yeah. I'll
80.
go higher than 85, go 90.
Oh, Tigers.
Come on, bro.
I'm going to go higher. I'm going to go 97.
All right, I'm going lower. And
You gotta-
Lehigh.
So you got to double down and buy him this week. That's it.
Yeah.
You must. And captain. You bring him in and captain him.
Actually, he's playing down the
Yeah,
road
but it's
from.
it's a 1 week
me.
thing. I know, like if he's going to score a ton, I'd want to bring him in, but I'm not confident he's. I don't know, and it's a 5'8" thing. I want to bring in. I mean, it's a centre wing thing. I want to bring in a fullback because I can squeeze him away there, but I can squeeze away other guys there. I'd probably prefer Mugatalo in just hold off on that. You know what I mean, and use one of my Dallin trades to go to him instead.
Yep.
More upside, so I'm probably not going to get him.
Joe, Lehigh over or under 50?
Under.
And Rapana over or under 97?
Under.
Very good. Cool. And captains, before we go.
Dave Fafita Vice into Tedesco reluctantly against the Bulldogs.
Yeah. Even though you said he was going to get 55.
Yeah. We'll be stingy. We'll be stingy.
I think if there's a world where you can VC Tedesco, that's a good play.
Yeah. What would you take from your vice captain this week?
80.
Yeah, that's the mark, isn't it?
I might even take a bit less. 74. That 75 from, or 70, whatever it was, from Latrell looked really attractive after.
Yeah, after
last
Garrick's
week's stuff.
score, yeah. And
Because
Marnus.
I'm just looking at him and I'm not really confident. There's none I can't commit to anything right now. Like I've got Cody's a maybe. Don't want to do that. Manu against the Dogs, I don't really want to do that. If I had Teddy, I'd definitely put Teddy in the fray. I know you guys got him. You got him for 50 and you got him for less. But what do you reckon he's going to score?
Who?
Teddy.
74.
And you're bringing him in?
Yeah. It's not a 1 week play, mate.
Yeah, all right. Just okay. That's fair enough. Yeah, I don't know. I'd probably have something on David Fafita, probably my vice captain, but just the injuries from last week also influencing where I would go as well. So very unsure. We'll have to see what happens.
Okay.
How about his 4 from Grace? Not even making the top 20 for Queensland. I mean, Piakura made it in game 1, and you got
Capewell and
Capewell that was off the bench for the Warriors.
Trent Liero.
There's got to be something happening. I reckon
Yeah.
Papenhuyzen has called Queensland and said, he did the dirty on the Roosters, just don't pick him.
Yeah.
Something's happened. That's insane.
I don't get it. He's backflipped on a Sydney club to stay at a Queensland club.
Unbelievable.
Like, I feel like Queenslanders should like that. Anyway.
And like I said about Latrell, if you're a Queenslander, you don't want Latrell, face Latrell.
Yeah.
I think the same as the Blues. You wouldn't want to face a fight up for feeder.
Exactly.
Oh.
My captain, it's Teddy. My vice captain, probably Jerome Hughes. I think he's in good form playing the Dolphins. Although the Dolphins, I think, are going to show up. They're not going to leak points. So I think I might end up VCing Tedesco. And I've got the captaincy on Ethan Strange at the moment. Random, but
You wouldn't legitimately follow through with it though.
I might just have the VC on Tedesco, just hoping he goes big enough to loop him. But if he doesn't go well, then it could be Cody Walker or Ethan Strange. I think the better option is definitely to go VC, Jerome Hughes, and Captain Teddy. But I'm not confident enough that Jerome Hughes is going to go big enough for me to want to loop against the Dolphins. The Dolphins are still at pretty much full strength. They're only missing the hammer and Felice Kafusi. It's a big loss, but I think they can fill the void, and it's a Thursday night. The Thursday night curse is real. I don't know. I think I'd be greatly what's the word? It'd be beneficial if I VC'd Tedesco and he went down with a HIA like he did against the Bulldogs last time. Scored 4 points, and I capitalised and just captained someone else. But that's just for insurance, I guess.
Well, the good thing about vice captain and Teddy is if you do have that little bit of inside you that thinks that maybe he doesn't go big, and then you can, go off elsewhere. Because if you're saying under 50, like, I don't know whether you're legit about that, but it could definitely happen with their defence. Like, they are defending. They're the second best defence in the comp.
And look at the Roosters, the game against the Cowboys in the first bye. They were all over the place. They didn't have Lindsay Collins. They had no Connor Watson. They had, who else are they missing? Spencer. Angus. They're missing a lot of players. They've still got a star-studded team, but the continuity of their side is just out of whack. Anyway, I think we're done for time here, but thank you for joining us. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for, I'm going to dig into this donut straight after this.
Thanks for having me, guys.
No, thank you for coming on.
Pleasure.
That was nice. Cheers.
It's a bit.
I've got a shin splint. Shin splints?